All right, I have to remake something that I've made before just because I want to address the idiosyncrasies of the new version of Contact, unfortunately. So you've opened up, hopefully, this sampling intro session that I've made for you. I'm going to explain a couple things about how samples are used in Contact, and specifically how to sync multiple samples that are loops in order to play back in time together. So we have already watched this movie and defined what a sample is. So I've inserted Contact 7. We're going to go over to files because what I've given you in this folder is a set of predetermined or pre-cut loops. So you want to look for your desktop over here. You remember this from 808 Warfare, but we're not looking for 808 Warfare. We're looking for sampling intro. We're going to open that up. And in the folder called samples, there's 4 samples. If this auto button is pressed, you can preview what the samples are. So very quickly, I'm just going to go ahead and take this drum sample. And I highly recommend at this point not double clicking on them because that replacement behavior will occur. So I'm just going to drag drums 1 Melvin Bliss to the to here. I'm going to leave output 1. I'm going to change Omni to port A number 1. Now, a little something about samplers in general. If I click or I use my keyboard and press on C3, that's exactly what this sample sounds like. It's how it was recorded. It's how it's on the record, all that. If I press on C2 or any key lower than that, it is playing that same wave file back, but slower and lower. If I go higher, it's incredibly fast. So, that low could be interesting for an effect. That high, I don't know. But, a couple of semitones up or down could be interesting. Let's open up the hood and look at a little bit of stuff here. So if I open up what's called the mapping editor, this yellow section here represents how many keys on the keyboard the sample covers. Remember, I hit C2. If I hit C0, that becomes more of a sound effect and just weird. I can come to either side of this and shorten the number of keys that the sample covers in case I want to, for example, grab another sample and put it on the same patch. We're not going to do that for the moment. We're just going to leave this as it is. You don't even have to do that stuff, but if you did, no big deal. The main, and then I could even move like the root note so that the root's on C4 instead of C3. Not going to do that. What I am going to do is I'm going to press on the wave editor. Because your tempo is 120 as a default, I'm just going to leave that as is. And I'm going to come to the wave editor. So this is actually the sample, the waveform of the loop that I cut. I can press play, preview it again, just for information, although we're not going to be doing that right now. I can move the starting point. I could even just say, you know what? I just want that snare drum. Maybe do it like that. But I want the whole loop. But I want it to play at a tempo that I want it to play. So let's count this for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it is 1 measure long. So if I go to drums and I draw in my 1 measure note, I'll even put my velocities up just to make it a bit louder. It's not, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is cutting out right on beat 4, so it's not actually playing the entire measure. That's because the actual sample is slower than 120 BPM. So there is a way inside of the Wave Editor where you click on here, Sync and Slice, and then you click on Time Machine Pro. And what that's going to do is it's going to tell this sample to play back at the same pitch of C3, but to do it at 120 BPM. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect loop. I can slow this down, make it say 90, 90. Now, what's cool about Time Machine as an algorithm is I can also say I want it to be pitched down, but I want it to maintain the same tempo. That's what Time Machine will do. I can pitch it up. So I have lots and lots of options of what I can do. I'm going to leave my one measure on C3. All right, now I'm going to click on the wrench here again, and that kind of minimizes. There is a minus to make it smaller, but if we want to get to these other elements, we got to click on the wrench. Now I'm going to bring in the perks. That must be this one. It's pretty loud. So I'm going to drag in perks. I'm going to change output to 2, Omni to port A channel 1, channel 2, I should say, sorry. I'm going to come over here, drums. I forgot the chain in situation. So drums, individual targets, channel 1, drums, channel 2, plugin, channel 2. I'm lazy. I'm going to click on the wrench, go to the Wave Editor, Sync and Slice, Time Machine Pro. Okay. I'm going to click Option, click and drag, because I know that this is also a measure. All right, so now I've created kind of this layer. I have the drum beat, I have these percussive elements. I'm going to duplicate that so I have 2 measures. Okay, I even love that little next, I'm going to grab my Lou Reed bass line from Walk on the Wild Side. Drag that over. Remember that orange light. Thank you, Yoan. Stereo 3, port A, channel 3. Click on the wrench, Wave Editor, Sync and Slice, Time Machine Pro. This is all of just about getting fixed loops, meaning loops that are of a specific length to play back in time. Now, let's listen to this one. We can't listen to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. That one is 2 measures long. So I'm going to go into my MIDI editor, click on bass. Oh, I didn't do something. I didn't change my MIDI channel. I didn't change my output. Okay. So we are all human. We make mistakes. So this time, this needs to be 2 measures long. Oops, I hate when that happens. Boom. Okay. And that is more or less how to sync multiple samples to playback.
Look at you!
In time. Now, I don't know about this Look At Ya. This is actually the sample used in Runaway by Kanye. Let's just see if I can come up with anything interesting for this. And actually, I will do something specific. I'm going to put this into Record Ready because it's short. And this is not a loop. I'm not going to draw a measure. It's not a measure long.
Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you.
Let's see if putting it Time Machine on will slow it down in any way that might be interesting.
Look at you.
Definitely not. That brings me over to this area where I'd want to turn on the grid and maybe cut that.
Look at you.
I think that almost sounds about the same as without Time Machine on. Am I wrong?
Look at you.
It is a little slower. But anyways, don't worry about doing any of this with this. Let's just see what happens. Have some fun with it. Hit record and play. It's going to count off, but I don't have a click track. So I'm just going to let it go in a loop. See what happens.
Look at you. 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 Look at you.
I'm going to try and see if this does anything for us.
Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you.
It's more on beat, so I like that decision.
Look at you.
Let's see if I put these on beat, if it kind of works a little bit better.
Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you.
I'm going to get these to be longer. It's kind of a joke, but you know.
Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you.
All right. Bounce this out as two measures.
Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you.
If you want to do this,
Look at you.
go for it. Okay? What's important is these three, primarily.